And with that, I welcome you into Coach's Corner. I am your host, Lucas Kochevar, as always, coming to you post Memorial Day weekend. And we had a little bit of Game 7. That's right, we had Game 7 between the Miami Heat and the Boston Celtics. I feel like the Celtics were just down 3-0 last time we talked, and they managed to fight all the way back to force a Game 7. In absurd fashion in Game 6 with Derek White hitting the buzzer beater. Heat fans have been speculating dumb theories because they're a bunch of insecure losers that don't know what to do with themselves. Despite them winning, they still have to, craft their own theory and narrative about why they got here in the first place. Your players didn't play good, and you let the team back into it. But I have to give them credit. Credit's due. They ended up pulling away in Game 7. An awful performance from several players on the Celtics. But, really, it was the Miami Heat that kind of just played consistent basketball. They played their game. They didn't do anything spectacular. But, Caleb Martin happened. A player that got waived by the Hornets less than a year ago ended up being the X Factor. Should have been the Eastern Conference MVP. Somehow didn't win that. But regardless, Caleb Martin, I think, won them this series, and I don't think it's debatably close because, it's one of those where Caleb Martin's taking so few shots. By this time, by Game 7, he was taking 16. But in those games leading up to it, he wasn't taking that many. And when you're taking less and less shots, you have to make the ones you're getting, and he did. And then his usage went up, his shots went up because he was so confident. And his performance in the second half really put a damper on the Celtics' efforts to try and come back after their horrific first quarter. 15 points. I'm not sure they made a three-pointer in the first round if they did, or the first quarter. If they did, it was at the very end. But yeah, no, Caleb Martin, I think, gets a lot of the credit for, in my opinion. Gabe Vincent, I thought he played a pretty good game despite shooting only 4 of 10. Bam Adebayo being plus 22, one of the more shocking things that I've ever seen because I'm going to be honest, the eye test, he stunk. He had multiple mismatches, and he just can never take advantage of a mismatch. I don't know how you're a big man like Bam and don't take advantage in the post against Derek White every single time. But regardless, played well. Jimmy did enough. But I do want to, zoom out at this series and look at the Celtics here. Because I'll be honest, as much as the credit is given to the Heat, and I think they deserve a decent amount for fighting through almost blowing this lead, the Celtics lost every game more than the Heat won these games, in my opinion. Game 1, they just didn't show up. Game 2, the Celtics blew the game. Game 3, they didn't even try, it seemed like, out the gate. And then Game 7 here, several performances from players that just, when you needed them the most, they just desperately decided not to show up. Jason Tatum got hurt on the first possession. I feel like that has to be said. I don't know if I don't think he was hamming it up or anything, but it felt like his energy level went down considerably. Like the adrenaline wasn't even pumping to make his ankle, move like normal, and he just couldn't do anything effectively. Marcus Smart, 1 for 6 from 3 is not going to cut it from a player who I think was huge in their last win. Derek White, I thought, played the best, obviously, on the Celtics. He, couldn't overcome this, performance from his teammates. But Jaylen Brown, I feel like, is the player that has to be talked about. Jaylen Brown is basically the number 2, can be the number 1 on certain nights. And, Tatum gets hurt early. I don't know if that, clicked or flipped a switch in Jaylen Brown to really, boost up his adrenaline, his confidence. But he made sure he took 10 more shots than Tatum, and 1 for 9 from 3, 8 turnovers on his own. He alone had more turnovers than the rest of his team combined. It was absolutely dreadful play from him. Every time, it's shocking to see a shooting guard like this. Every time he touches the ball, I don't want him to dribble. He can't dribble. I don't know how you're a shooting guard at this level and are not able to perform simple dribble moves. He doesn't have to do crazy, Kyrie Irving, in between the leg, behind the back, spin move to the reverse layup. Just dribble the ball without it being poked out every possession down whenever you're handling the ball. Like, seriously, it was some of the most atrocious basketball I've seen from a player who is about to get paid a lot of money. And it's almost to the point where, I don't know, you can justify it, obviously, by just saying he's an All-NBA player and he's been proved every year with us. He's still young. But with that price tag is going to come way, way bigger expectations than what he already has. And if he's doing this now, what will it look like then? So I can't imagine he's going to stay in Boston. I think in the next 3 years, he will be gone from the Boston Celtics. That is my prediction. It's a long time down the road to predict, but regardless, Jaylen Brown I don't think has a long future in Boston, despite the fact that he will probably sign a massive deal to make him generationally wealthy, more so than he already is. But regardless, yeah, the Celtics, like I said, I feel like they lost this game more than the Heat won it because of the lack of offense and the lack of effort, I think, on the defensive end of the floor. They just provided nothing, really, for their team. But, now we have to transition. We have to look ahead. We don't look in the past. We already just did that. The Denver Nuggets have been waiting. The Denver Nuggets have been waiting 9 days. They're going to be waiting 9 days by the time the final starts. And they are well rested. And it's one of those things where you're going to debate the whole, rust versus rest thing with, are the Nuggets going to be flowing like a normal team? Are they going to be playing well? Are they going to be, really kind of playing the Nuggets basketball that we saw prior to them, sweeping the Heat or sweeping the Lakers and whatnot? Can they continue that against the Heat? And I'll be honest, I think they absolutely can. It's one of those where I think this Nuggets team is so locked in right now. I think they've been the best team in the playoffs throughout. They have obviously a superstar, 2-time MVP, one of the best players we've ever seen playing at center, point guard, whatever you want to call it. Jamal Murray was on a heater, throughout this entire playoffs. And then I've mentioned multiple times the role players that have stepped up big time. And I think the role players might be hurt by this time off because they were playing so well. But I think once you get into it, once you start going, and you're playing at altitude, you're playing at your home court that and the Heat have to come in there after a hard-fought 7-game series with emotions and tensions running high. I think the Nuggets have the perfect spot here to set up and just wait for the Heat to come into their home court. Because that's another thing. If the Celtics won, the Nuggets were going to have to go travel to Boston and win the first two, which I think they would have been able to do. But now they get to stay in their own beds. They get to wait till the Heat to come to them. And, just thinking about the matchups, I don't know what the Heat are going to run as a starting unit. I don't know if they're going to keep running this one out because although I think it is smart to have Caleb Martin in there, I don't know the matchups well enough to understand if he is better or if they're going to try Kevin Love again. I don't know. But the big matchup is obviously going to be Nikola Jokic versus Bam Adebayo. Bam is a very, very well-renowned defender. Basically from the perimeter to the paint, he's really good, but Nikola Jokic is the best player in the world right now. So that'll be a fascinating matchup. I saw a stat where they are the Nuggets are 4-0 against the Heat in the last 4 games they've played over the regular seasons. And the Heat have not won in Denver since the Obama administration. So a decent amount of time there since the Heat have won in Denver. But regardless, If you look to Jimmy Butler, the big superstar, I have to imagine that Aaron Gordon is going to get that task once again. Like I mentioned, him playing against Kevin Durant, playing against LeBron James, and Jimmy Butler. Although he's not on the all-time list like those guys, so far in these playoffs, he's definitely in consideration for one of the best players left, obviously, in this series and the playoffs, regardless. I have to imagine that Aaron Gordon can handle that task despite being bigger because Jimmy Butler's tired. I don't know how much more he can take because, frankly, he's looked gassed. And he obviously mustered up enough where he can score like 25 to 30 points a game. But I don't think it's as efficient as it was early in the playoffs. I don't think the passing is as crisp as it was. And this is where I think that rest versus rust thing comes into play, where although the guys like Duncan Robinson and Caleb Martin might benefit from this like quick turnaround, I think your stars like Jimmy, who's been playing so many minutes, suffers. And although they don't have a ton of guys that are like Jimmy that have been playing so much and they need him desperately, like Bam has been playing, but he's young, but he doesn't do much either. Like, Jimmy is the Heat. Like, as much as like people want to talk about the other guys and the culture, all that garbage, Jimmy Butler is the Miami Heat. He is everything for them. And so him getting even a little bit of rest will be big for them these next couple days. But running against a fresh Nuggets team, I think, is where this train could go off the rails. And, if the Nuggets come out hitting their shots, Michael Porter Jr. is the big one that I think about. Michael Porter Jr. or KCP against one of these, I won't say lackluster defenders, but definitely not the level, I think is what the Nuggets were just playing. Because I think the Lakers, although they swept them, the Lakers' defense, I think, is better than the Heat. So, all in all, like I said, I think Jamal Murray has the edge as a point guard just because of his flamethrower ability. And although I do think they'll target it on defense, I mean, they handled it in the Lakers series fine. I think Nuggets can figure that out. Like Jamal Murray better. Gabe Vincent or Max Strus against KCP, I think that's kind of a wash. Like I said, two role players that have had a really good playoffs. I think, for either side, I think is a wash. Michael Porter Jr. versus, let's say, Caleb Martin. Or I have to give the edge to Caleb Martin because he is playing so well. It's one of those guys where I think he's on like a couple $1 million deal for the next couple of years. Whenever that deal is over, he will be paid because of this playoff performance. And then Jimmy Butler versus Aaron Gordon. You have to say Jimmy Butler, but I think Aaron Gordon will make his life tough. And then obviously I'm taking the Joker over Bam. And when you go to the benches, this is where I think it also breaks down is the Nuggets know their guys, Jeff Green, Bruce Brown, Christian Brown. Those guys are going to be huge, obviously, off the bench because those three guys have been just the consistent guys. And I think they're objectively better than what the Heat have off of their bench with Kyle Lowry, Hayward Highsmith, Duncan Robinson. But they have to be able to survive, running around screens for Duncan Robinson, who's shooting well from three now. Kyle Lowry just being a dickhead, being Kyle Lowry. It's like Kyle Lowry is such a dirty player and a scummy player that I think the Nuggets will struggle to figure out how do they navigate the officials because of him. But regardless, I think they'll be okay. It's just these are the little things you have to think about, and I do still think the Nuggets have an advantage here because Bruce Brown has been so good. So that is the NBA Finals preview. That's most of what I wanted to talk about. Just get that out there because game one is on Thursday, I believe. Real quick puck minute, the puck update. We have Stanley Cup playoff puck. We have the Florida Panthers versus the Vegas Golden Knights. Two traditional franchises that have been around for years upon years, the history of hockey. Now, these are two relatively very new to the scene teams. Obviously, I don't think the traditional hockey fans love seeing these type of teams in there. But as a casual, I think these two teams are, the Panthers are one of the hottest teams in the league. They're doing what the Heat are doing, but I think they're doing it at a higher level. And then the Golden Knights have just been money. They've just been nails all playoffs long. They didn't blow the 3-0 lead like the Heat almost did. They managed to hold on. But that'll be exciting. It'll be exciting to see the, home ice arena for Las Vegas. I'm trying to remember. I think the Knights played in it a couple of years ago and lost, but to Washington, I believe. But yeah, Golden Knights getting another Stanley Cup title game is last couple of years is very funny for traditionalists that want to see the Red Wings, Blackhawks, all those. It's comical to me, a casual, but still. That is the puck update. But before we get out of here, I want to do a quick Sporkle quiz. That's right. Sporkle, I don't know if you remember that I did a video on it. It's basically just a quiz website, and NBA Finals MVP. We'll see if I can name them all. It'll be interesting to say the least. I have 10 minutes to do it. I think I can do it by then. But regardless, let's start from 2022 on. We have Steph Curry in 2022. Giannis Antetokounmpo. Oh no. Antetokounmpo. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, this is brutal. I don't know how to spell Giannis. Oh, it accepted the first name because no one can spell the last name. LeBron James is going to be a couple on here. Tim Duncan's going to be a couple on here. Kevin Durant's going to be a couple on here. Kawhi Leonard on both the Raptors and the Spurs. Andre. Oh, I thought it'd take it maybe like it did. Iguodala. Oh yeah, Andre Iguodala, the weirdest, I would say, Finals MVP. Chauncey Billups, because I see the Pistons there. Dwayne Wade on the 2006 Heat. Tony Parker on the Spurs there. Paul Pierce, did he win that one? Yes, he did. Kobe Bryant won a couple in the 2010s. Dirk Nowitzki in that insane playoff run in 2011 for the Dallas Mavericks. Shaquille O'Neal, 3 in a row from that Lakers three-peat. Michael Jordan, obviously. Oh, if I can't spell Jordan, I spell Jodan. Hakeem. Oh, I thought it would take the first name. Olajuwon. Oh man, I can't spell Hakeem's name. Hakeem Olajuwon, though, if I get to it, we'll look it up. The Pistons, Bad Boy Pistons, Isaiah Thomas. Ooh, there's a Pistons one I don't know. Is it Joe Dumars? It is Joe Dumars. Look at that. James Worthy for the Lakers one year in the 80s. Magic Johnson won a couple. And Dennis Johnson for the Supersonics in 79. I didn't know that. Larry Bird. Abdul Jabbar should fill up a couple here. Jabbar. Oh, he only won 2. Kareem as well. Moses Malone. He won the one for the Sixers in 83. Kale, no. Robert Parrish, no. I know Bill Russell's going to be on here. Or not. Oh man, 69 is the cutoff there. Elgin Baylor didn't win anything. What about Clyde Frazier? No. Jerry Lucas? No. Debouchier? Oh man. Okay. We're falling apart here. Wes Unseld, yes. 81 Celtics? Who's on the 81? But not Bob Cousy. Havlicek. John Havlicek won one for him eventually, one of them years. Rick Barry for the Warriors. Celtics in 76? Who? Oh, man. Jerry West won in 69. Willis Reed, because he played on the broken foot there. Oh, he's the other one for the Knicks. Lakers. Will Chamberlain. Yeah, Will Chamberlain in 72. Portland Trailblazers, Bill Walton. Boston Celtics in 76 and 81. Oh, man. My Boston Celtics knowledge is failing on me. I spelled Olajuwon right. Haha. Olajuwon. 52 out of 54. I have 5 minutes left. The Boston Celtics Finals MVP in 1976 and 1981. I got Bird. I tried McHale. I tried Parrish. Tried Johnson. Tried Havlicek. I tried Kuzi. It's not Danny Ainge. I know it's not, but I'll type it in. No. Oh, what other random white guards did they have? Oh my goodness, this is going to kill me whenever it pops up. Did they have any crazy guards? Jones. Is it Sam Jones? No. It's not Sam Jones. Casey Jones? Oh my gosh. This is killing me. Okay, Boston Celtics. I've done Havlicek. I've done Kuzi. I've done Bird. I can try McHale again. Robert Parrish. Wasn't Parrish. I already did Bill Walton. Who played on the Celtics? Whose jerseys are retired by the Celtics? I can't look it up because as soon as I see it, I'll be like, yeah, that's it. In 81, it was Bird and Magic, but who stole the show? Or it wasn't Bird and Magic, but who stole the show? Who was the veteran for the Celtics? Jones. Johnson. I'm gonna give up here. I can't think of it. JoJo White and Cedric Maxwell. Those are two names I never would have gotten in a million years. Because I would have never guessed Maxwell. That last name would not have come across my radar. White is a little bit more attainable, but I would not have gotten those two guys. A 52 out of 54, though, isn't awful. I got 96%. Average score 75%. That's elite level play there. And I also spelled Hakeem Olajuwon's name right. So I feel like I get a little bit of credit there. But I think that'll do it for this week's show. Like I said, I'm just doing the one show this week. Did a holiday yesterday, and no sense in doing a show tomorrow because we did our preview stuff today. So, with that being said, I am your host, Lucas Kochevar. As always, make sure to like, share, subscribe to the pod, to the YouTube channel at Coach's Corner. Make sure to check out lksportstalk.com. for new LK League notes coming on Friday. Got that in the works for the next top 5 offenses. Check out last week's article, which is top 5 defenses coming into this year, in my opinion. After that little preview here for the pod listeners, we'll get into division by division breakdowns. So a couple of those might be repetitive because I feel like I've talked about the Texans and LK League notes for the past 5 times. I've done let's look at these teams, but don't worry, we'll still get to those teams. We'll get repetitive a little bit, but as always, like I said, I'm your host, Lucas Kochevar, joined by my little co-host here, Layla, just sleeping away here. But until next time, until next week, enjoy the NBA Finals.